You know, and we all have our 15 minutes of fame, and I'd like to take a couple of my 15 minutes to talk about the rights and the wrongs in the world of professional wrestling.
And it is for the WWE Championship.
This match is for the ECW World Heavyweight Championship.
The World Heavyweight Championship.
The match and new NWA Heavyweight Champion.
We appreciate you guys coming out and taking your time to support women's wrestling in America.
This match is for the AWA World Heavyweight Wrestling Championship.
All about winning. It's all about the WOW World Championship belt.
This is the most prestigious belt in wrestling.
Fabulous. Lana Star has it. Everyone wants it.
Bring me the belt.
I want the belt.
And I could definitely see myself going for that title match.
I'm coming for that belt because it belongs to me.
If you think you're coming anywhere close to this, you've got another thing coming.
One by one, I will go through your entire roster until the only person that's left is Lana Star.
It is season 2 of WOW, episode 5, which means it is episode 5 of the WOW season 2 review. Folks, this is your host, Mr. Green of the Women's Pro Wrestling Network, and we are going into episode 5, the Jailyard Brawl. This is the latest release from WOW, as they are releasing one episode every week via their website, WOWE.com, which you can see all of their matches released one by one. If you haven't seen them up until this point, there are 5 matches available and a set of season 2 bonus content that they have. And I'm also going to, since we bring up the bonus content, I did talk about it last time, so I'm going to briefly address the bonus content that they have now. And the bonus content that has been released this time is Jade, Why She Fights. If you are or have been a fan of WOW in its original incarnation, you remember Jade was part of the Asian invasion. I'm not sure if that name in and of itself is a kosher name to be used at this point, much less the theme music that they had at the time. But I won't go off into that. That's not my call to make. But in either case, they were a tag team that were in WOW, Jade and Lotus, which, for lack of a better term, they were a jobber team. They lost constantly. They got beat up by everybody. And this is essentially the story that they're telling with this bonus content, that Jade was a fighter and she had a strong fan base, but that fan base and her heart did not translate into wins, and she ultimately quit WOW. And by quit, I guess they probably mean that the show ended, therefore she had no reason to really continue. But we'll move on from that. So they say that she resigned from her role in wrestling, really rethinking it. But when WOW restarted, she was contacted, which is, probably very true. And she was asked to come in and assist. And from the footage that they're showing, it looked like she's a trainer. I don't necessarily get the point of doing that. And this is just my personal nitpicking. And in the let's call it the kayfabe world of pro wrestling, if you were going to restart a wrestling company and get somebody to begin training them, I don't know if I would go get somebody who had a horrible win-loss record 10 years ago and hadn't been in the ring in over a decade to start training new people. That's just my outlook on it. It doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. I'm sure that they have a different viewpoint than I do. I know what they're accomplishing in the real world, but I'm saying if we're just looking at this from storyline perspective, doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So in any case, she's hired. She's helping out with the new Wild Girls per the request of David McLean, but she gets this note that's been held by her mother to give to Jade for an indeterminate amount of time. We don't know how long she's been holding on to this, which apparently was written by her grandmother but never made it to her up until now for whatever reason. And she has this note that tells her more or less that she's proud of her. She's happy that she became the fighter that she became. She shows such perseverance and so on and so forth. And here's the pendant of the Jade of which you were named after, which ultimately, as this story goes, gives her the inspiration that she needs to step back into the ring and wrestle once more. So Jade returns, which I will relay into what is supposed to be their next video release. Jade is supposed to be wrestling on the upcoming edition of their program. Well, but upcoming edition of their episodes that are being put out. I forget who she's wrestling right now. You know, as I'm talking, I'm going to take a quick leap over here to their YouTube channel. And a quick plug for them. Every match that they are doing right now has been released on their YouTube channel. Every match that they've done is on YouTube, but it's done in a very condensed form. So if you just want to see the highlights of the match, you can go over to their YouTube channel right now and get all the stuff that you're looking for. If you are looking for the match in total, then you want to wait for it to get released week by week, and that will come. But yeah, she's supposed to wrestle, and she's supposed to face Desmina or something like that. And spoiler alert, if you don't want to hear the result, skip ahead 10, 20 seconds. You've been warned. Spoiler alert, she wins. Okay. Jade, after a decade of having lost and not scored a pinfall victory over anybody, finally gets her win against the new girl, Desmina. I believe that's how you pronounce her name. So that becomes a big deal. I'm sure that the match itself is going to look a little bit different than the highlights. It's going to be a little bit more fleshed out, of course. So I'm waiting for that. But I shouldn't say spoiler alert, because all this stuff is on their channel. I'm not telling you anything that you can't get access to. But she gets the win. But we'll review that after the match is in full release. So let's go to the actual match that came out this week. The Jailyard Brawl featuring Caged Heat, the Wild Tag Team Champions, dealt a lot of pain, because you heard she deals a lot of pain, if you get it. Yeah. Anyway. And her tag team partner, Loca, facing off against the team of the Bully Busters, Kita Rush and Stephanie, Marviliosa. It is so hard for me to say that. Marviliosa. So this is the tag team match, and if you caught the review last week when I talked about the bonus content with the manager, if you will, of Cage Heat, Sophia Lopez, who offered the team a tag team title shot to get in there with Cage Heat, and she wants to see Cage Heat, her two girls, beat up the Bully Busters because they had made fun of her and stuff like that. Now, the video of her being made fun of by the Bully Busters, plural, never showed up. I haven't seen it. I haven't even seen it, video that could be taken out of context as far as them saying, "Oh, we don't like Stephanie and this and that." I mean, not Stephanie, Sophia Lopez, the greatest manager in the world, or the best attorney in the world. That's her gimmick. She's the best attorney in the world, which in this world translate to manager. But anyway, the match begins around the 3-minute mark of this video. If you're watching, Cage Heat is more or less stomping the life out of Stephanie. They beat her up fairly, strong, and for a fair amount of time in the opening portions of the match. You got a couple of spots in there where she's trying to get the tag in. Of course, a bit of a false tag spot. She's trying to get the tag in and get to her partner, Kita Rush, and the Cage Heat either cuts her off or they remaneuver the referee to where he doesn't see the tag. So when Keita gets it and she charges in to try to save her partner, the ref forces her back out, of course, which leaves Stephanie open for another beating. I had no problem with the performance of Caged Heat. They're stomping her and body slams and this and that. No problem with that at all, because just based in Caged Heat's persona, the fact that they aren't polished pro wrestlers works to their favor. They're supposed to be, people that just came out of incarceration for undisclosed crime that took place over 15 years ago that Sophia Lopez had to get them out on. But, they're not supposed to be polished. So I didn't mind any of this. I didn't mind the roughness. I didn't mind the fact that they weren't doing skilled wrestling holds and all that stuff like that. It works perfectly for who Caged Heat is. Now, Stephanie, again, like I said, tried to get those tag spots in. Didn't quite make it. Where I did have a problem is the spot where Loca again is in the ring with her. And let me make this one statement, is that the idea that Caged Heat would start jawing with the fans or bragging about themselves to the audience or to each other following a huge hit on their opponents or a slam or a clothesline or something that puts Stephanie down, that worked well. I didn't have a problem with that. That seemed like it fit the character. What I did have issue with was when Marvillosa slips blatantly through the legs of Loca, and rather than turn around and try to stop her from making the tag to her partner, she decides to keep going and walk over to her own tag team partner, Dealt a Lot of Pain, and start talking about something, which is absurd. It didn't make any sense. And it's just one of those wild spots that I guess you kind of get used to, where it's almost like, well, I don't know what to do now, but I'm just going to waste some time until the next person gets in. And it just comes off bad. I say, at least turn around and make the effort to try to stop her from getting the tag. Because it didn't matter. It's not like, she came in and Loca was beating her up anyway. Keita came in and she started off, pretty quick, fast, had some offense, not much offense, but she had some offense. So Keita Rush comes in after Stephanie slips through the legs. She gets the hot tag, comes in, gets her fast offense in, but ultimately Loca cuts her off. Despite all of that, Loca cuts her off. The match keeps going on. There are a few exchanges that have taken place in the ring between Dealt a Lot of Pain and Stephanie Marvillosa. When both of them are kind of switched out with their partners. The Bully Busters do get some brief, and I stress the point, brief advantage, but then they start to celebrate in the middle of the ring, and of course here they are celebrating far too soon, and they get cut off, causing A, Keita Rush to get thrown out of the ring, and B, Stephanie to get set up for the Caged Heat double team, which is essentially the old Hart Foundation tag team maneuver, the Heart Attack, except Caged Heat does it off of the top rope, and they call their version Hard Times. So Caged Heat comes off, clothesline on Stephanie with Delta doing the setup job, holding her there, Loca delivering the clothesline, nails her, 1, 2, 3. Caged Heat beats the Bully Busters clean in the middle of the ring. Which I'm going to say, this is some hindsight booking, okay? This is just what I would have preferred. The Bully Busters at this point have lost to Tropical Storm in the holiday release version of the WoW episodes, and they just lost to Caged Heat. Neither case of which did they lose in anything competitive. They just lost. They just were outclassed. They were beaten. And if you're looking at this just solely as a fan on storyline purposes, Caged Heat was clearly the better team. They just outclassed them from start to finish. Despite the little spots that the Bully Busters got in, they just were outclassed. They didn't cheat to do it. They didn't hook any legs. They didn't provide any distractions. They didn't pull the tights to try to make, get the pinfall. Sophia Lopez didn't get up and try to distract the referee or nothing like that. No foreign objects, no brass knuckles, no steel chairs, nothing. And nothing like that happened for Cage Heat to get any sort of assistance to win. They just won. As a matter of fact, Sophia Lopez, who you see come out to ringside with him, and you see her after they win, she has no presence in the match at all. In fact, the camera doesn't even take a shot at her to see her talking or, yelling at him or giving her words of encouragement, nothing. And if you did not know that Stephanie walked out to ringside with them, you wouldn't know that she was in this match. Stephanie. I keep saying Stephanie. If you didn't know Sophia Lopez, if you didn't know that she came out to ringside with them, you would have had no idea that she was there at all. She didn't do a thing. It was almost no purpose in having her as a manager, which is essentially what she is. They can call it what they want. They can say advocate. They can say defender. They can say lawyer, attorney. But ultimately, it's the managerial role. And she didn't do anything to be a manager. So that gets a little bit of a downslide with me. But getting back to how I would have preferred the Bully Busters win, I'm not saying the Bully Busters should have won the match. I actually think that them losing was perfectly fine, and I think that Cage Heat as the tag team champions should have gone over on the Bully Busters. But what they should have done, in my view, you can leave your opinions down there if you like. Tell me your version of it. But I would have liked to see the Bully Busters actually get a good competitive match in there. It would have been all right for Cage Heat to start out the way they did, with them beating up on them and really putting it to Stephanie, and she just can't find air or opportunity to get away from Cage Heat. She makes the hot tag. She gets the key to rush. She gets some quick offense in, and she gets cut off. I'm fine with that. But I would have liked to have seen the Bully Busters turn around and from the underdog position, fight back, kick out. No matter what Cage Heat does to them, they're just unable to get this pin, unable to score, unable to keep them down. They just keep showing the heart. I would have wanted that to be the story that the Bully Busters tell. That no matter what you do, no matter how bad you beat me, no matter what punishment you put on me, I'm going to keep coming back. I'm going to keep fighting with everything I have to win this match. And in the end result, I would have liked to see them turn it around a little bit. Maybe start to get to the point that Cage Heat feels threatened that they may actually lose. More importantly, that Sophia Lopez feels threatened that they may actually lose. And that she needs to do something to save the championships. Either blatantly distract the referee, hand something over to him, brass knucks, or some other foreign object or some version of cheating that Cage Heat could use to get the advantage of them, because they're heels, they're bad guys. They should have gotten to a point where, hey, we can't beat these two girls cleanly, so let's just do something so we can make sure that we win. I would have liked to have seen that. And then, yes, the Bully Busters lose, but they would have lost with the idea that, okay, these girls are forced to be reckoned with. The tag team champions had to cheat in order just to beat them. When they've been talking all this stuff about how bad they was going to beat them up and they're going to be a walk in the park and this and that. If the Bully Busters had a good showing against Cage Heat and ultimately lost, they would have gotten something of victory even in the defeat. That's what I would have liked to see happen. That's just my take on it. I'm interested to hear your opinions. If you think they should have done something differently, leave it in the comments below. The match in and of itself is a little over 6 minutes long, I believe. Might be just shy of 7, so it's one of the more lengthier matches. And when I say that, the video is longer than that. But you got to remember, when I call this, I'm saying it from bell to bell. From the starting bell to the ending bell, the match is about, let's say, 6.5 minutes, which is about the average for a WoW match. They don't usually go very long. They're not 10 minutes plus. You're not going to get no 20-minute wrestling classic out of it. Maybe we will once we start seeing the other WoW girls, the pure wrestler WoW girls show up on the videos. But as of right now, the matches are pretty short. Cage Heat versus the Bully Busters is probably the best video that they've put out thus far. I think that's a pretty safe bet to say. Out of the 5 episodes that they've done, up until this point, Cage Heat versus the Bully Busters could be the best match that they have displayed up until now. So that's a plus. That's a thumbs up. The matches are getting better. It started off with me grading it at a low C. If anything, I would have said a C minus. With those opening matches, but they're getting better. Cage Heat versus the Bully Busters was entertaining. It was a little bit more faster paced than what we saw last week with Santana Garrett versus Tadapit the Gamer. It was more stuff going on. The Cage Heat shows a lot of personality in the ring. I think they're very comfortable in what they've done. Of course, them already having kind of identified with those characters, having done it before. They have a little bit of an edge on Keita Rush and Stephanie Maviliosa in terms of character identification. So, you can't really hold that against the Bully Busters team. But all of them seem very comfortable in who they are, what they do. And again, the only other real criticism you can have, it doesn't even go to WoW, it goes to the crowd. That crowd is sitting on their butt. They don't give anything back to that what's going on in the ring. You see a couple of people out there cheering and all that stuff, but for the most part, just scan through that crowd. They're just there, man. It's almost like they told them, go watch these matches under forfeit of your life or something like that. But go check it out. Go to WOWE.com. You can look at the matches and see your take on it. I know some of y'all not even bothering to watch it at all. I don't know why. Maybe you've been burned by WoW one too many times. If you have a justified reason for why you're not watching WoW, pass that on to me too. I'd like to hear it. But I know that there are some people that just aren't watching, man. For the amount of people that follow both their Facebook page and their YouTube channel, the numbers don't add up. So I know that there's people out there that just are kind of lurking on the channels, and for the people that listen to this review, some of you I know that just listen to the review and then don't bother. But it is what it is. In any case, we will get back to the next review of WoW next week, which should be what they call the fan favorite Jade, who has returned to WoW after 10 years. She steps back into the ring for episode 6, Homecoming. So until then, we will catch you guys later. Be sure to stay tuned for future reviews. If you want to see it when it pops up, when it's uploaded, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you want to see other wrestling matches besides WoW, be sure to scroll through our channel for more matches. We have them. We got them in full. We got tag teams, steel cage, street fights, you name it. That stuff is there. And it features a lot of the great independent wrestlers that we have in the women's circuit, or the women's independent circuit. Tiffany Rocks versus the Priscilla Kelly is one of our latest uploads. You may want to check that out. Very good match by a veteran young lady, Tiffany Rocks, get in there with the upper-comer and the Priscilla Kelly. So, that's a quick plug for me. But also, again, if you're not going to watch the full episodes of WoW, go to their YouTube channel. You can see the matches in very condensed form, and it'll give you a quick overview of who won, who lost, and how the stuff will come across. That's it, folks. Subscribe to the channel, like our videos, and we will be back next week. Take care, guys.
Thank you for listening to the WPN's Rights and Wrongs of Pro Wrestling. If you have questions or comments, please contact us via our Facebook or our YouTube channel at the Women's Pro Wrestling Network. If you're new to the WPN, feel free to subscribe to our channel and like our page. We appreciate your support. Thank you again for listening.